Folks, welcome back to the Forbidden Land podcast. I'm not really sure what to say this week. I'm not really sure what to say. This is like the longest document I've ever had for an episode. We've been, and also fuck these guys for delaying it by one day. I already had the title planned for the last episode, and then they didn't do it, and then I released the episode in the morning, and then they fucking do it that night. Fuck you guys. I am so blown away by the absolute insanity of this whole situation. This is how I felt 4 years ago when Russia invaded Ukraine, where I stayed up all night watching the events unfold, the footage from Kiev, and watching reports on, what was going on in Ukraine. That's the road. This is how I feel about this. The Department of Defense, or as the Reddit mods over at the Department of Defense call it, the Department of War, are calling it the Operation Epic Fury. Operation Epic Fury, folks. Operation Big Chungus Epic Fortnite, Winter Chicken Dinner, Epic W in Iran, Operation Epic, Super Epic. I mean, what the fuck? I knew a kid when I was in high school who would say epic a lot, and that was when that meme was, like, still relevant. That was 7 fucking years ago, folks. That was 7 years ago. And we're calling shit Operation Epic Fury? Why? What the fuck? Trump is now the first president in the 21st century to launch a missile strike on Iran. To attack Iran really at all. I mean, he's launched strikes on Iranians before. He killed Soleimani in 2020, and he killed another top-ranking Iranian official as well. But this is the first time he's struck Iran the way that he has. He killed the Ayatollah. The IRGC command structure is still intact, and they've now decentralized and enacted the Mosaic system, where there's a bunch of decentralized groups across the Middle East that are all under Iranian control, but can operate independently of there being a supreme leader. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but what the fuck was the point of this whole thing? Why is the United States going to war with Iran? Infamously, Donald Trump criticized Barack Obama for the idea that he might go to war with Iran, which, ended up, in hindsight, he created the Iran nuclear deal, which was the safest we've ever been with Iran. And then Trump pulled us out of it, and then violated certain parts of it by putting sanctions on Iran, which caused the deal to ultimately fall apart. But here's what Donald Trump had to say in 2011 about Barack Obama potentially starting a war with Iran.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage. Iran can be taken down in many ways. Their population is in turmoil. They look at what's happening in Syria and other countries where it looked like it was an impossibility, and it looks like that one's going to collapse also. So Iran can be taken. I would never take the military card off the table. And it's possible that it'll have to be used because Iran cannot have nuclear weapons.
So clearly he's been holding on to that for the last 15 years. It seems like he always wanted to go to war with Iran. Here's how Trump announced that we were going to war.
Seeks to kill.
Folks, I gotta say, this shit's so embarrassing. It's embarrassing for one thing that we're even going to war in the first place, that we're now spending another $1 billion+ which will soon snowball into being $1 trillion, and then that will snowball into being $2 trillion, and so on and so forth. It's already embarrassing enough that we're doing that to go to war with Iran. But here's what the president looked like while announcing that we were going to war with Iran.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service.
He's wearing this ridiculous trucker's hat. He's not even wearing the full formal suit, which they would have eviscerated Obama for, by the way. And he's not in the White House. He's clearly in Mar-a-Lago. Also, him saying the whole Lord Farquaad thing, the whole, some of you may die, but that is a price I am willing to pay.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future.
But some of you are going to have to fucking die for our oil. That's right. So yeah, we announced a war. We have officially struck Iran, and it's not just the U.S. going to war with Iran. This war was not, more than likely, not our idea alone. Although the U.S. has never met a war it didn't want to fight and burned money on, it seems that this war was primarily started from the fact that Israel wanted to go to war with Iran. And listen to this. I mean, Trump won't rule out sending U.S. troops to the ground. He said, quote, "I don't care about polling." Dog. This is clearly Israel's war. Benjamin Netanyahu's been wanting to go to war for years now. I mean, here's clips of him saying for the last 30 years that Iran is, minutes away from having a nuclear bomb.
Not stopped. Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, he's been saying this shit for 30 years, man. That Iran could have a nuclear weapon at any moment. And in classic Israeli fashion, Israel launched, U.S. and Israel launched an airstrike at a all-girls school in Iran. So far have killed at least 153 girls in the strike between the ages of 7 and 12. Classic Israeli fashion. Within the first day of the war, they've already bombed a school, and since then have bombed at least 9 hospitals. Remember 2.5 years ago, On this very podcast, when people were trying to be, I was talking about when people were trying to say that, oh, there's no way Israel struck a hospital in Gaza. They wouldn't do something like that. But if they did do something like that, Hamas is under the hospital. And, more than likely it was a Hamas missile that launched into the air and dropped right back down into the hospital. And remember how everybody was saying that it was unlikely that the most moral nation on earth would drop a bomb on a hospital. And since then, they've destroyed almost every hospital in Gaza. And they've already begun in Iran. And this should show you the big ideological difference between the U.S. and Iran. The U.S. wants regime change. They want a foothold in the region. They want more control over the region. They already have Saudi Arabia at their disposal. They've destabilized Iraq, destabilized Afghanistan, and caused it to where now both of those countries will probably not have any tangible threat to the U.S. for the next 20 years. They've got Israel in the region, who's actively destabilizing Lebanon, constantly bombing Syria, keeping a close eye on Jordan, bombing and genociding the people in Gaza, and have full control over the West Bank. The UAE is in our back pocket. Qatar is in our back pocket. Israel can launch a strike on Qatar and kill a Hamas official, and Qatar does nothing in response. We've got full control over the region, and the one place we don't have control over is Iran. They are like the one place that we have not put a dent in until now. And so the U.S. wants that. They want to destabilize Iran so they have a hold over it the same way they have a hold over Afghanistan and Iraq. What Israel wants is complete Iranian destruction. They want to do to Iran what they've been doing to Gaza this entire time. They want total annihilation of the Iranians because they want that region. If we allowed them, they would bulldoze through Jordan, bulldoze through Iraq, and then bulldoze through Iran and take that land. They're already seemingly setting their sights on Turkey. And if you've seen the Greater Israel Plan, Jordan, Iraq, Turkey, those are all part of it. The Sinai Peninsula, pieces of it, all part of that Greater Israel Plan. That's the goal here. Is the U.S. wants destabilization with some level of control over the Iranian government, probably installing some form of another Shah, like they did, 60 or 70 years ago. While Israel wants to see the entire region collapse, and they would rather glass the region than have to deal with another governmental change, with another regime change. And both of these paths are wrong. First of all, who's pro-genocide in this audience? But second of all, regime change? Why do we keep doing this? We kidnap Maduro from Venezuela and promise regime change. Why? What business is it of us to be meddling in the affairs of another government? We go into Iran and we bomb and kill the supreme leader. One, now you've just martyred him for the rest of Iran. Now they have something to fight for. Because while the IRGC might be evil, the IRGC, tyrannically imprisoning people, murdering protesters, murdering Iranian citizens, you've now made a greater evil. Something to unify the violent regime and the citizens of Iran, the 90 million people living in Iran. You've now given them the great unifier, which is their hatred of the United States and its meddling affairs in Iranian politics and Israel, a poisonous force in the region. You know, who's to stop a leader from going, I don't like how Trump is treating his people. You know, Trump is killing protesters who protest ICE. He's imprisoning people for free speech. He's deporting people for free speech. He's imprisoning them in like concentration camps and labor camps for their free speech. I don't like that. Let's, you know, I don't even know if I can really say that in this hypothetical scenario, but let's say that they're like, let's take out him. What's to stop a country from doing that? Because they'd be using the same justification that we use for going into other countries and bombing them. It's the justification we've used for Saddam Hussein. He's a violent dictator who's developing weapons of mass destruction to destroy our way of life. And so we got to go in and take him out. And then we got to occupy the region for the next 15 years. It's the same justification we use. Oh, we're going into Iran to destroy the violent supreme leader for regime change. Why? It's none of our business. We've made it our business, and now the people living there are pissed. Here's Congress's reaction to this whole thing. So you might realize that, you know, during this whole thing, I never said that we declared war on Iran. And here's what Congress thinks of this. Thomas Massey calls it acts of war unauthorized by Congress. And then him and Ro Khanna develop a War Powers Act to basically see who will side with the executive branch in launching these strikes. Who will allow them to drag us into yet another war? You know, will Congress, will congressional members continue to allow Trump to operate unconstitutionally by starting wars and bypassing Congress's need to declare that war? And we got our answer. The bill, you know, hit the Senate. And the bill failed. 47 Democrats and 53 people said no. 47 yes, 53 no. And you know who said no on the Democrat side? John Fetterman. John Fetterman said no. John Fetterman actually is one of the most vocal supporters of this war. Here's his response to Thomas Massey's comments about this being an act of war that bypasses Congress.
Well, I mean, what I can say is that why can't we all just celebrate what happened today? That was just profound and incredible. And as you pointed out, as the president did, this was one of the most evil people that ever lived. And after 37 years in Iran, he's been eliminated.
Like Thomas Massey, who wrote this, acts of war unauthorized by Congress. The U.S. is attacking Iran, according to the AP. What is your response to Massey and to your colleagues who don't agree with this?
No, that's bizarre. You know, I'd like to remind my colleague over in the House that Iran massacred 30,000 of their own people right now. This war is not about the Iranian people. It's about this poisonous regime. And that's why I'm proud to stand with our
Keep in mind, regime change, because Iran's killing protesters, is not the reason given for why they've started this war. It's not the reason they gave. The reason that Marco Rubio gave was that we went to war for Israel. That Israel's the one that dragged us into this war, pressured us into this war. Pressured. Like I said, the U.S. hasn't met a war it didn't want to fight. But Iran killing protesters is not the reason given by the Trump administration.
I'm proud to stand with Israel, too. I might be a Democrat, but in this specific case,
He is not a Democrat. Let's be so for real. He's not a Democrat anymore, man. He's really not. He's more of a war hawk than like Republicans are. The average Republican. He's not a Democrat anymore. He doesn't agree with the Dems on almost anything. You know, if Trump came out tomorrow and said the N-word, he'd be the first one on TV defending it. He loves defending the Trump Republicans. You know, as long as they love Israel, he loves them.
The president is absolutely correct to do these kinds of actions. And now we have Israel's back. And now that's why it's entirely the path for peace in that region. How many treaties, how much negotiation? I never thought they would work. Iran has only ever responded to these kinds of things. And now here we are right now, and they have the opportunity.
No, it hasn't. We were in the middle of negotiations with Iran before this. We were literally in the middle of negotiating, you know, with them in regards to nuclear weapon manufacturing and all this stuff. We were literally in the middle of negotiating with them when we did this. They were conceding on stuff that was unprecedented. They were so ready. They just want to be left alone. They just want us to leave them alone. Oh my God. It's so ridiculous. Oh, Iran's so evil and violent that they won't even come to the table and talk. They did. They fucking did. They came to the table. They made the Iran nuclear deal with like us and multiple other countries. And Trump threw it in the garbage. They were negotiating with us again. And then we threw that in the garbage too by launching fucking missile strikes at them. Oh my God. I can't keep listening to Shrek, man. Jeez Louise. Here's what Lindsey Graham had to say about the war in Iran. He said, if any Americans die in this war, they will die a noble death, having sacrificed their lives to make Israel and the United States safer. To make Israel safer. Only tacked on the United States part. You know, because he had to. Iran was no... I'm so sleepy. Iran was no serious threat to the United States homeland. And so then 4 soldiers were killed in this war. Lindsey Graham said, I know the fallen would want us to continue. 4 people have died for Israel. Now 6 have died for Israel. How much longer are we going to put up with people letting Israel control our government? Think about it, dude. AIPAC has a foothold in every congressperson, pretty much. With the exception of J Street scooping up the rest of them. You know? They've got such a hold on us. For what? So, you know, 6 people have now died for Israel. Ted Cruz comes out. He admits there's no credible intelligence that Iran had nuclear weapons.
It's almost like they want to illustrate to the world just how malign they are.
But in terms of containing the risk, who's securing the nuclear material that you say still exists within Iran? Who's doing that?
Look, the quantity of nuclear material, I didn't say anything one way or another on that. What I said is they were building nuclear weapons a year ago, and our bombing took that out. They also had an ongoing desire to rebuild them. I don't have...
Oh, they had an ongoing desire to rebuild them? Your Honor, this was a vibes-based war. I kind of caught a vibe that Iran kind of wanted to dabble in some weapons manufacturing. So, you know, I bombed a school and killed 153 children. But, Your Honor, I vibe-checked them, and they said they wanted... You know, I got the vibe that they were going to build more weapons. Come on, Your Honor. What's the big deal? Jeez Louise, man. They had an ongoing desire to rebuild them. What the fuck does that even mean? How do you know that? Also, clearly they had... Dude, they were right to want to rebuild them. We just launched a war on them. If they had nukes, we wouldn't be doing this right now. Yeah, if they had nukes, we wouldn't be fighting them right now in a war for Israel. You know, we just wouldn't. There's a reason why we don't attack China directly. Why during the Cold War we fought and funded proxy wars. Because if the two big superpowers clash directly, there's a chance of a nuclear bomb flying. You know, that's why it's like, yeah, Iran probably should have built a nuke at this point. We would have left them the fuck alone.
Present day intelligence on what progress they had made towards rebuilding nuclear weapons since we bombed their facilities. I have no indication that they were anywhere close to getting nuclear weapons because our bombing was devastating.
Oh my God. Literally has zero evidence of a nuclear weapon threat, which is like the whole justification that they're using for this war. Mark Warner says, I saw no intel that Iran was on the verge of launching any kind of preemptive strike against the United States.
There's still got to be a case to the American people. And again, this was the guy that was going to keep us out of endless wars in the Middle East.
I have a couple of follow-ups to some of the things you just said. First of all, you have access to intelligence that few other people have. The president said in the video he put out that there was a possibility that the Iranians could use missiles that could strike the American homeland. Senior administration officials said that the timing was chosen because they saw intelligence that the Iranians were going to launch preeminent strikes. Did you see any of that information?
The Iranians had been working on increasing their military capabilities. And remember, you know, this was supposed to be military capabilities, at least on the nuclear front, that the president himself said were obliterated based upon the strike of 7 months ago. I saw no intelligence that Iran was on the verge of launching any kind of preemptive strike against the United States of America.
None.
None.
Shocker. Dude, it's just because Netanyahu saw his chance and he took it. That's it. Netanyahu saw his chance and he took it. And he even admits on video that this has been a 40-year dream of his. He's been yearning for it, is what he said. I mean, come on.
Let's also be clear. I've said before, I've said now, there was no imminent threat to the United States of America by the Iranians.
Yeah. This war is for nothing. This war is quite literally for nothing.
Where, can you just tell me really quickly, where have they killed thousands of Americans in America?
I didn't say they killed thousands of Americans in America. I said that they have been responsible for thousands of Americans being killed. And I think that that's easily something that you can verify. I don't know, state-sponsored terrorism for starters. Why don't you, are you serious right now about that whole thing? I'm not going to list out exact specific locations. They've literally been responsible for sponsored terrorism.
Are you talking about the Iraq war where the U.S. invaded Iraq?
You can start out by the three that they just killed. Okay, the whole point of your network, if you want to actually talk about the facts here, I'm giving you the facts. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about something that's commonly accepted and known.
Congresswoman, you don't have a good understanding of the
concept. Well, I'm the one that's getting the briefings, not you. You're a pundit offering your opinion because you want clickbait, but are actually interested in the substance.
No, not at all.
We can talk about the fact that Obama sent millions upon millions of dollars to the Iranian regime, or do you not want to address that because it's not supported by your opinion and your network?
No, not at all.
Is this really even something that we're going to actually get to substance here, or are you going to continue to attack this?
No, it seems like you just want to filibuster. It seems like you don't really want to have a good faith conversation.
Or you just don't like what I'm saying.
No, we would have invited you on the air.
This happens every time I'm on with you.
Yeah, you keep coming on every time, and you keep stating a lot of things that are incorrect.
Because
the United States launched an attack on Iran.
About it, except for you.
The United States launched a war against Iran right now. Iran retaliated, in which American members.
Strikes.
You can call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, the Iranians responded and killed 3 American service members. So what we're trying to get at is you make an assertion on this air that it's not an invasion when America sends fighter jets and Israel sends fighter jets into another country.
Boots on the ground are not going to happen.
So the general consensus here right now is that Congress keeps saying that it's not a war. And the administration keeps saying it is a war. And I think that's because Congress is trying to prevent a situation where the Supreme Court steps in and goes, yeah, you can't launch a war without congressional approval. Even Congress is saying, you know, if the Congress is calling it a war, the Supreme Court can probably be like, hey, this is a war. If 2 chambers are so far agreeing that this is a war, but there was no vote held, this is an illegal war by American standards. And so Iran, in response, immediately closes the Strait of Hormuz. And you're wondering, that is right here, right there where this purple line is. And so, what do you know? Gas prices in this country have already shot way up. My gas yesterday was almost $3.50. It was almost a whole $1 cheaper last week. This is going to have effects on people, you know. This is going to have total effects on people. You know, after Israel and the U.S., you know, shot missiles at Iran. I'm getting a phone call. I'm not going to answer that. After they shot missiles at Iran, Iran retaliated. Here's where they fired a missile at a naval base.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Bahrain. And Iran actually kind of scattershotted it. They shot at multiple U.S. ally areas. You know, they even shot a what seems to be a missile near the Burj Khalifa, which is pretty nuts. Yeah, there's multiple clips of them blowing stuff up. Here's a journalist who stupidly ended up posting where one of the Israeli Iron Dome launch sites is. Now, if you're Iran, you know where you're going to strike next. Now, oh, there's more. There's missiles in Tel Aviv.
And just while we're talking here, you can hear the air raid sirens have started again here in Tel Aviv. People are in bomb shelters at this very moment, and I'm just going to keep looking off as I speak to you here so we can get an understanding of where the incoming fire is located. Look, right now the Israelis understand that this is going to cost something. War is never easy. It's not going to be easy for the United States or for Israel, but they are doing what they can to neutralize the threat from the Iranian regime. We know that President Trump was very clear. He is calling on the people. And just stay with me here. We have interceptor rounds coming off right now to shoot down this incoming balloon across the city. His air defense systems, 3, 4. There are currently 4 different interceptors, from what I can see, that are chasing down these balloons.
For Israelis, how does this feel? Your government tells you your whole life that your neighbors in the region are all trying to kill you because you're Jewish, and that they must bomb everyone and everything in that region neutralize everybody. But as a result, you as a Jewish person have probably come to Israel because you've been convinced throughout your life that Israel is the safest place for Jewish people to live. You know, it's a place to keep Jews safe, to protect them. You know, another Holocaust will never happen ever again. And that's what Israel is meant to prevent. But it seems like every year or so, you've got those air raid sirens going off in Tel Aviv. You know, there's constantly a bomb coming towards Israel that the Iron Dome has to try to catch. And so, where do you like draw the line there? At what point do you go, maybe I was lied to? You know? Maybe it's just possible I was lied to about this whole project. Because Israel gets itself into some shit all the time, and they always call victim. They always call themselves victims. I'll show that one after. They always call themselves victims in all of this. Keep in mind how much shit that missile had to pass through to get there, by the way. So I think Israel and the US underestimated Iran and its technological capabilities. I think they didn't think about the fact that this wouldn't last like a day or two, that it's probably going to last like months. That it's clear right now that Iran is just trying to deplete the Iron Dome, and they know that the Iron Dome is low on munitions because they just had to pull a threat out of South Korea and send it to Israel. You know, they know that we're low on missiles, on on defense missiles that are meant to destroy oncoming missile fire. And I think they know this. Here, I even have a clip of a missile hitting near Jerusalem. Actually, I need to show the whole video. Let me show the whole video. Let me make sure this video is like up to date. Fragment from ooh, okay. Okay. Let me show you the whole video.
Oh my God.
Do you see all these Iron Dome missiles? All missing this one missile.
Oh my God! Yo! No way!
This guy's American, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. But so is the Prime Minister, so he fits right in.
No way! Oh my God! No way! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, holy fuck! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Yo! Oh my God! Oh my God!
To Israel being like, "Oh, this is going to be awesome," and now he's having to deal with missile fire. This man has experienced what most Americans will never experience, more than likely. Now, I will say, first of all, here's the damage.
We're here at the site of a ballistic missile impact in Tel Aviv.
If you're wondering why you never see Israeli damage sites, it's because the Israeli government doesn't usually allow this. They thought this would garner sympathy for them, and instead it's made people go and rally behind Iran, because they realize what Iran's capable of.
The incoming fire is making it challenging because these first responders have to keep.
But I have to be kind of withholding with this kind of footage. Like, I have to kind of. It's good for your mental health to take breaks. I woke up abruptly this morning before my alarms went off. I didn't look at what time it was. I opened my eyes and I was like, whoa. And then I tried to go back to sleep. And it's because in my dream, missiles started coming down. There's an air raid siren, missiles in the sky, and I watched American Iron Dome style missiles fire up into the sky and miss. And the missile slammed down, like, right in front of me. And I just shot my eyes open. And I was like, ooh, that was my dream last night. Please limit how much you watch some of this stuff and balance it with other things so you kind of keep a healthy balance with it. Because my God, I think this is like really fucking with my head. Knowing that we're now going to enter another forever war with Iran. I'm having my Iraq moment. This is me realizing that we are going to war with another Middle Eastern nation. Which I presume is how a lot of leftists felt when we invaded Iraq. For similarly flimsy reasons, by the way. Here's the Israeli foreign minister kind of just getting grilled by Channel 4.
We are aiming at military targets, but the Iranian regime is targeting our civilians, our children, our women, our elderly. But this is not only happening here in Israel. Countries act targeted. We don't have any. The only quarrel.
Get to the questions, little bro.
Clearly done. Khomeini, the Iranian regime, have clearly done terrible things, particularly to their own people. But your prime minister is a wanted war criminal. You don't have the moral high ground here at all.
This is a war crime. This is a war crime. Targeting civilians.
You know what's insane is that if you removed these two and just showed this background on its own without the Tel Aviv marker, I would think this is footage of Gaza. I would think that I'm looking at a piece of footage from Gaza. So yeah, it does kind of hurt when you get a taste of your own medicine, doesn't it? Doesn't that kind of hurt when you get a small little taste of your own medicine?
Targeting elderly women, killing, murdering her caregiver from the Philippines. And the Iranian regime is targeting not only us in Israel, they are targeting the entire region.
What about the 100 or so schoolgirls in Iran that have been killed in a strike there?
And this must stop. This must be stopped, and this is what we're trying to do. Yes, next question, please.
Completely avoids the airstrike question, by the way. Because Israel is only good at one thing, and it's killing children. Here's the Iranian foreign minister on NBC News.
So for clarity, you said that your missiles cannot reach the United States by design, that you do not want to reach the United States, but you also said it would be necessary as a defensive vehicle that you could if necessary. So to be clear, are you committing that Iran is not and will not build missiles that would have the capability to reach the United States?
I can confirm, yes.
Sir, if that's a red line for you, why is attacking U.S. military bases abroad justified?
I despise American media. Because when America does something, it's righteous and just. But when a foreign nation retaliates, it's an attack on our sovereignty. It's a moral outrage. I hate how that question's framed.
But because they are attacking us. They are U.S. military, installations, facilities, bases who are attacking us. We are under attack. Why don't you, recognize this fact? We are under the attack by U.S. by U.S. forces in the region. So we have every right to defend ourselves. And how to defend ourselves? We attacked, the U.S. bases. This is obvious. This is a very simple fact. And I hope that, and I'm sure that people would understand that. We are not the one who attacked Americans. We are only defending ourselves.
Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, American media is so complicit in our war crimes abroad. I really do. I love it when I editorialize in the doc. I really do hate some of the stuff we do in this country sometimes. And that's an understatement. That's me being civil about it. This is why we can't have good roads, health care, good education that's affordable. That's why we can't have any of this. Because we are too busy blowing billions of dollars, trillions of dollars on endless war. Whoa, time jump. So I took a break because it was 4:30. And like I said a few minutes ago in the episode, it's good to have that balance of paying attention to politics and going outside and touching grass. I worked out. Did arm day. I wish I had better lighting. You could see my muscles more. That's just cope. I have better looking triceps than I have biceps anyways. Anyway, I forgot to show this clip. Because I want to just show you how much the president truly cares about the 3 service members that were killed in the line of duty. U.S. Central Command reported that 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in action. Now, what did the President of the United States say about this? What did obviously the most professional and well-spoken and, just really in touch president, what did he say about this situation? Well, here's him talking about it. Seemingly still at Mar-a-Lago, by the way. At least he's in a suit this time. But seemingly still at Mar-a-Lago.
As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more.
Started off pretty all right. We commend these service members that have, given their lives in the line of duty, whatever. The typical presidential response to stuff. But then following it up with there will likely be more? I want to know what the parents of service members serving right now think. As their children get shipped off, seemingly shipped away to die for Israel and Iran, what do they think when they see stuff like this? When they see the President of the United States say, it's sad these people died, there are likely going to be more deaths in the future to come. Iran's probably going to kill more U.S. service members. What do they think about that? That's really fucked up, man. Why would he say that? They've been making way too many statements about this. This is the thing, is this administration's been moving around like there is no midterm. Because they have been talking about this war in such an apathetic way. They're not even trying to hide it. They're like, lots of you will die and that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. 3 service members die. Well, you know, there's probably going to be a lot more where that came from. Like, what the fuck? Well, you know, 3 people died, but there's going to be a lot more where that came from, folks. And there was. 3 more people have died the last time I looked at the numbers. 3 more soldiers have died from the American side. I believe 14 IDF soldiers have died as well. The last time I looked at the numbers, could be more. But it's just so insane to hear the president say that. And to some extent, as a leftist, I've talked about this before, where I've said that I have some level of sympathy for veterans that, you know, denounce what they had to participate in. But I do sympathize a little bit with the whole, they're poor, you know, they have no other options. The military is inherently predatory amongst the poor because it knows it's easy recruitment. You just flash a bunch of money at somebody that's poor, and you're very likely to recruit them into the military. It's very predatory. It's very gross. I've had a military recruiter talk to me before when I was in high school. I was training to be a sound engineer, and they were like, well, you can be a sound engineer in the military. And I was like, I would never join the military. You know, I even thought that at the time. And at the time, we had just killed Soleimani. And so I thought we were gonna get drawn into a war with Iran. And so I was definitely like, I'm not gonna join the military to bump some tunes over in, you know, a military base in Beirut. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, or in Bahrain. I mean, I'm not gonna fucking go to the Middle East to be an audio engineer. I'm gonna stay in the States and do it, you know. But I do have some level of sympathy for people that get preyed upon in the military, and so I mostly feel for their families, you know, that the mothers and fathers that have to see their children get blown up for a rich man's war and needlessly slaughtered because rich capital owners that have taken full control of the government have orchestrated a conflict to profit off of said conflict. War profiteers, people who have invested in war, you know, weaponry manufacturing, and people who are in the oil business or have invested in the oil business. Those people have the most to gain from a war like this. I mean, come on, you know, you got to feel somewhat bad for their families for the fact that their kid is getting murdered out there because a bunch of rich elites want to make a profit. You know, it has nothing to do with protecting the country. It has nothing to do with defending Americans. It's simply profit-driven, warmongering imperialism for the sake of doing it. I mean, this administration hasn't even given a direct reason. I mean, it's still unjustified regardless, but they haven't even attempted to give us a decent reason. They take us for such fools. They take us for such, you know, they take us as such mindless cattle that they don't feel the need to give us a straight answer on why they're doing this war. When they kidnapped Maduro, all these news organizations come out, they pull out the old Iraq playbook, and they're like, well, when we invaded Iraq, you know, it was to take out the evil Saddam Hussein and liberate the people of Iraq. And, you know, they said, you know, that's what we're doing in Venezuela. We're liberating the people of Venezuela from the evil regime of Maduro, and we're going to liberate the region. And the Trump admin comes out and goes, yeah, you know, we just want their oil. Yeah, we're going to do, I guess, some regime change on the side, but we're kind of just in it for the oil. I'm going to let those oil companies go in, have their way with it. And the media was like, So regime change, right? That was your main goal, and the Trump admin's like, not really. Kind of just wanted the oil. Wanted the money from that. And it, you know, puts a strangle on our economic enemies, China. That's why we did it. I don't give a fuck about Maduro. We just wanted the oil. I mean, that's literally even that they gave. At least they gave us the honest, straight answer. Is illegal and unjustifiable and disgusting as it was. They kind of just said it out loud, the quiet part out loud. Honestly, probably just through incompetency. I don't think they meant to be transparent like that. I think they just thought that message would go over well with their base. But with this invasion of Iran, it's like, you know, Pete Hegseth is calling it a war. Marco Rubio is calling it a war. All of the members of Congress are saying it's not a war. Pete Hegseth is like, we're going to do regime change. Marco Rubio is like, we're doing this for Israel. Trump is like, the evil Ayatollah is dead. Anyways, look at my beautiful ballroom, folks. Isn't it beautiful? My beautiful ballroom. It's under construction right now. Isn't it beautiful? It's going to be really big. And it's going to be grand. It's going to be bigger than the White House even. Wow. I mean, they do not care. You know, they don't care about you. They'll lie to you. They'll give you 4 different conflicting answers, or they just won't care at all to even stick to the answer at all, like Trump, where he's like, yeah, I guess we're doing a regime change for BB. Anyway, look at my big ballroom. Isn't it beautiful, folks? I mean, they think you're stupid. They think you're dumb. Here's a Iranian state TV where Netanyahu and Trump have hacked into their broadcast and are playing videos urging Iranians to, I guess, rise up against their government. I don't know how. Hold on, let me turn this up, 'cause it's not super loud.
אל תחמיצו את ההזדמנות. זו הזדמנות של פעם בדור. אל תשבו בחיבוק ידיים, כי בקרוב יגיע הרגע שלכם, הרגע שבו תידרשו לצאת לרחובות בהמוניכם, לצאת לרחובות כדי להשלים את המלאכה.
You think they just have a guy on staff that sounds just like Benjamin Netanyahu to translate for him? You think that's what they have? Just a guy in their, you know, in their office that sounds identical to Benjamin Netanyahu to translate for him? Unless that is Netanyahu. I don't think Netanyahu knows how to speak any other language except for English, especially English, and Hebrew. Does he know how to speak other languages? I like to believe the theory, because you can barely see him. He looks like a fucking, like, a humanoid monster in this video because of the low quality. Look at this fucking freeze frame of him, dude. You can't really tell because of the dog shit quality, but I would love to believe the theory that Netanyahu, you know, has a guy on his staff that sounds just like him to translate for him in different languages. That would be so funny. That'd be the only funny thing about this man. Everything else is horrifying, gross, disgusting, inhumane, you know, evil. But man, if they have a guy on their staff that sounds just like Netanyahu but can speak other languages, that is so comical. It's so unintentionally funny. I really hope that's the case. I haven't seen a higher quality of this broadcast, so I don't know. But I really hope that's the case. Sorry, side tangent.
הסבל וההחרבה שלכם...
בסדר, סימון לא יודע, אני נהייתי.
העזרה שהפסקתם לה, העזרה הזאת הגיעה. כן? איזה רעי.
To the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour...
Wait. So is Netanyahu speaking,
ועכשיו הגיעה העת שתתאחדו יחד.
What the fuck? So they just put Trump on the TV with the translated subtitles? They didn't even want to find a Trump impersonator to translate for him? That's kind of fucked up. That's weird.
To the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years you have asked for America's help. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight.
Can I just say, if I saw on a hacked broadcast on my television the face of, like, who I would consider honestly as Satan, and then also the Antichrist, pop up on my TV calling for me to overthrow my government, I'd be horrified. If I was watching TV and, like, I don't even know. I think even if Trump showed up on my TV in America and was like, now is your only chance, overthrow your city council member or whatever the fuck, I think I'd be like, I think I would call the police or something. I don't know. I think I'd go and hide in a panic room. Especially if I was in Iran, I would definitely be doing that. I'd be hiding in a bunker because these are the faces of two men who are responsible for blowing up 150 plus children in a school in your country and have carpet bombed all over Iran and don't plan to stop anytime soon. It seems like even if the US were to stop, Israel would turn Iran into the new Gaza. So if I saw the two most, who I would perceive as the two most evil men on earth show up on my TV talking about, now is the time to overthrow your government and you may not get another chance for generations, I'd go straight to the bunker. This would horrify me. I don't know why they thought this would work. Like, it's tone deaf and it's also horrifying for the people of Iran. You know, that there's just something a little scary about this. Not even a little. This is terrifying. So that's what they're doing with Iran. They're literally blasting propaganda to the Iranians right now. Here's what Netanyahu had to say about the war in Iran. He invokes the name of Amalek, basically saying that that Israel is currently at war with its sworn enemy. Saying he's basically calling on the Israeli citizens as saying, us as the Jewish people are at war with our sworn enemy, which has to be one of the most insane. Like he said this exact same thing about Hamas after October 7th. How many Amaleks are we gonna deal with, bro? How many times are you gonna pull that out? You know, this dude does not respect Abrahamic religion at all. Just constantly using religion as a scapegoat, constantly calling upon, the Torah or the Jewish Bible, all this stuff where he's like, the people of Israel, we need to do what Samson did and collapse the temple walls around us to defeat our enemy. Why are you even he even quoted once, like, as it says in the Bible, eye for an eye, they strike us, we strike back harder. It's like, what are you talking about? What? It's clips like I'm about to show you that make the most dumb of our society become anti-Semitic, because they hear stuff like this and they go, oh, it's the Jews going to war with Iran and dragging us into a war. They're all pulling the strings. This is the type of clip that makes people think that, despite it not being true. So, here you go. Enjoy. Oh my God, Oh my god, it's not in English. I'm gonna have to translate it. He said, we read in this week's Torah portion, remember what Amalek did to you. Yeah, and the verse he's quoting is, oh wait.
They will threaten all of humanity.
They translate it. Oh my god. Thank you.
And if this regime of terror has nuclear weapons, they will threaten all of humanity. Therefore, we went out to push away this danger too, first of all from ourselves, from us. But we are acting here together with the United States in the name of and for the sake of all humanity. I draw immense strength from the resilience of our citizens.
This motherfucker talking about humanity after murdering, after slaughtering estimated to be about 500,000 Palestinians in Gaza, destroying at least 2,600 family lineages in Gaza, slaughtering thousands and thousands of babies, thousands and thousands of men, women, children, the elderly, entire family bloodlines wiped out. And this pile of human fucking garbage wants to talk about we're saving the world for the sake of humanity, saving it from Iran. I'm sorry. The last person on earth that should be talking about humanity is this disgusting freak. This evil pile of worthless garbage that is Netanyahu. He's the last guy that should be talking about humanity. If there's ever a worse person than Donald Trump on the planet, it's this guy. He's murdered hundreds of thousands of people just for the sake of it, for the sake of ethnic cleansing, because he wants a piece of territory for Israel. He's not even going to live long enough to enjoy that kind of thing. He's a genocidal, supremacist maniac. He's out here being like, us in the United States were heroically saving the world for humanitarian reasons against the evil regime of Iran. Fuck you, dude. So gross.
Resilience of our citizens, from the heroism of our soldiers and commanders. We read in this week's Torah portion, remember what Amalek did to you. We remember, and we act.
Insane. The verse, by the way, in 1 Samuel 15:3. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. He's literally invoking Amalek in a way where he's saying we're going to slaughter all the men, all the women, all the children. The same thing he did in Gaza. The same thing he's still doing in Gaza, by the way. They haven't stopped. I think they're even advancing into southern Lebanon right now. How many more wars do you need? When is the next fucking election in Israel? When is the next election? October 2026? Holy crap, dude. He has been in office for so long. And the Likud party is just like, which is Netanyahu's party, it is just opening up a multi-front war across. I mean, to be fair, the liberal Zionist party in Israel, is going to do the same thing. They're going to continue this. In fact, they might not even win the Knesset elections because of Netanyahu running propaganda about Ehud Barak's implications in the Epstein files. So, dude, I mean, Israel is in like like a 5-front war. When is it going to stop? When will it be enough? When will it be enough for this guy? Holy fuck, man. As a little palate cleanser, TikTok sensation, a former CIA officer, John Kiriakou, gave his take on Iran. Now, John Kiriakou seems to be a somewhat progressive, pro-Palestine, like progressive liberal, I would say. He still kind of buys into the intelligence community, liberal shit, but he seems to have a lot of progressive mindset and ideology, which is kind of nice, you know. Yeah, and he's a whistleblower. He's the one who blew the whistle on the CIA torture program during the war on terror under the Bush administration. So I think he checks out to some extent. Here's his take on Iran. I think his take is pretty valuable.
Yeah, people at the White
on this. I think he gives a decent little piece of insight, you know.
White House saying, "Oh my God, there are these demonstrations in Iran, and they want the exiled Shah's son to come back and to be the Shah, and it's going to be constitutional democracy, constitutional monarchy, and everybody's going to live happily ever after." No, that's not the case at all. First of all, the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, which effectively runs the country, has 150,000 people. That's a lot of people with a lot of weapons. Number two, the country is genuinely split. Sure, there are some people who support the MEK. There are some people who are tired of living under these ayatollahs, but there are a lot of people who want to be left alone. I remember in 2003, the night before we invaded Iraq, hearing a senior director at the National Security Center say, as we were wrapping up a meeting, he was picking up his papers to get up and walk out of the conference room. And he said, "Tomorrow, when we cross the border, they're going to throw flowers at us." And I said to the deputy director of the CIA, "These people don't know anything about history." Well, we're seeing exactly the same thing in Iran. They're not going to throw flowers at us. They're going to see us as attackers and invaders, and they're going to unite to protect their country. So if we think that the Iranians are just going to roll over and their government's just going to collapse and the Ayatollah is going to jump on a plane and run to Moscow or wherever, ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are underestimating the response Iran has right now. So from what we've seen from the way Iran's responding is that they are kind of just trying to deplete our defenses in Israel and in our other bases in the surrounding area. It seems that that's kind of their goal, just deplete the munitions that we have in the surrounding areas as much as possible, and then unleash like their big boy weapons that they have. Because I think a lot of people forget Iran is one nuke short of being a global superpower. Like, they're pretty up there. And I mean, they keep saying this could be a 4-week war. I saw one high-ranking senior official say, God, I really do whistle through my front fucking teeth a lot. I've seen one high-ranking official say that, this could be up to an 8-week war, and I think this war will go on longer than a year. I think this war will go on for a mini year. I can see a future where we put U.S. service members on the ground, where we put them in the country directly, not just flying over it, where they're on the ground, patrolling the streets. I can see a world where we are occupying Iran, Afghanistan style, for like decades and decades. Until a U.S. president comes along and decides to pull them out. The only good thing Joe Biden ever did. like one of the only good things he did. I can foresee a future like that where they're going to tell us, oh, it'll be a quick operation. You know, we took out the Ayatollah. Now we just got to take out their weapons. Now we just got to take out their aircraft and their tanks and their military vehicles. Now we just got to neutralize their military. Now we just have to make sure the citizens are staying in line. Oh, and now we have to make sure our new government that we've installed is being upheld and functioning, and we're going to bring enforcement there to enforce this new government. And now look at the time. 10 years has gone by, and we've been occupying Iran for 10 years. And what do you know? A terror cell has emerged and is threatening us, just like ISIS did in the early 2010s, and just like Al Qaeda did after we had left them in Afghanistan and continued to occupy the region, like Saudi Arabia. And I can just foresee a world where they stick our troops in Iran and occupy the space for an insanely unnecessary amount of time and spend so much money that it rivals the amount of money we spent on the war in Afghanistan, the amount of money we spent in the Iraq War. I just don't know what to say about this anymore. This administration doesn't care. They make decisions like no one's going to stop them. One of the new things that's come out is that they're calling this war a religious crusade. I shit you not. In the same way that George W. Bush called the war in Afghanistan, the Iraq War, religious crusades, they are now saying, U.S. commanders are now telling their subordinates that this is God's plan, that this is linked to Armageddon, that this is a religious war to bring upon the Christian end times, and it is biblically sanctioned. This is the new crusade. I mean, we are repeating history 23 years later. I would say this invasion is akin to the Iraq War. At least the war in Afghanistan, as awful as that was too, they were like, oh, well, the terrorists could be there. And at some point in time, they probably were. But this is like the Iraq War, where they go in for selfish, imperialistic, profiteering reasons, blow all this money, fail horribly at the beginning. Service members become disillusioned with the war. They come back home, they're riddled with PTSD, riddled with regret, riddled with more questions than they have answers about why did we even go there in the first place and fight this war? What was this war even for? What was it all about? They're going to develop cancer from some fucking dumb thing they do over there, akin to the Iraq burn pits. It's going to be the same shit all over again. We're going to keep repeating it, keep repeating it, keep repeating it. I don't know what to say anymore. Are we going to be right back here in 2040? I'm going to be on episode like 2,500 something. I'm going to be like, well, guys, I don't know why I have an accent at this point in time. Well, guys, we're going to invade China. Seriously. Oh, we're invading Saudi Arabia. They're saying it's for regime change. It's for oil. Be real. It's for oil. Be real. Am I going to be back here in 20 years saying this shit? The same way that in 2003, the federal government was like, hey guys, there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Dick Cheney's like, oh, I can't wait to profit off this fucking oil we're about to get. Yes! Yes! It's going to make our warmongering, war profiteers happy because they're getting more money from weapons manufacturing. It's going to give good old Dick his oil money. I mean, good Lord. It's so gross. According to one of the complaints, a commander said President Trump, quote, has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth. What is going on in the military? I know that there have always been conservative freaks in the military, you know, especially in high-ranking positions of power, because a lot of the people in positions of power in the military are the people that have bought into it hook, line, and sinker, and are deep in the pocket of, believing the American war machine and thinking that it's a good force of nature. But my God, what are we doing? You know these complaints will go nowhere. You know this is going to be Pete Hegseth's whole, what's wrong with being religious and believing in God? This is a Christian nation after all. And then he takes a fucking swig of his beer, crushes the can against his head. Now let's go blow up some Iranians. Yeah! That's what he's going to do. For Jesus, yeah! I have a friend that I talk to all the time, and when I first met him, he was super conservative, and he's very religious. He's very Christian, in a normal Christian way, by the way. Like, he's an actual help the poor, preach, equality and being kind to your neighbor and all that stuff. He's a good Christian, but he was really conservative when I met him, and over the course of our friendship, I've definitely changed his mind, or at least I've made him realize that a lot of his worldview is a lot more progressive in nature, not necessarily conservative. So he's definitely like a very progressive, somewhat conservative guy. He sees my point of view, he's fine with it. But we agree on a lot of stuff, but he liked Trump at first when I first met him. Granted, didn't like him very much, but he liked him for a couple things. And I can safely say at this point in time, he regrets ever liking Trump. I mean, he hates him. There's a piece of breaking news I'm going to mention in a few minutes, but I texted him this news, and all he sent back was just like confetti. But when I showed him this, the whole, like, the commander saying that Trump is anointed by Jesus to invade Iran, he was disgusted by this. I mean, any actual real Christian that doesn't tie their religious beliefs to, to their political beliefs, sees this, knows it's blasphemous, knows it's disgusting. I used to be a Christian. I can tell you right now, this would have disgusted me when I was, and it still disgusts me, but this would have disgusted me while I was still going to church. This would have disgusted me. And, there's even something that happened later on. So, during some kind of like meeting amongst generals or something, a U.S. Marine stands up and begins protesting the Iran war. Just starts shouting that, this is a war for Israel, and he's not going to die for Israel. Pretty commendable stuff. Here, I'm going to show the other angle first because it's like the lead up. And we were talking about this, and I mean, he's disgusted by this too. And he's been sending me news about. He's actually the one that made me aware of this clip. This is why I always say you should talk to your friends, in a normal, healthy way. Don't just shun them out because they have different views than you. Talk to them. Become their friend. You guys are friends now. They're going to hear you out. They're going to agree with a lot of stuff you think. Me and him agree on a lot of stuff, you know? And he sent me this video. I didn't know about this until he sent it to me. This Marine stands up and begins protesting the war in Iran. He's a Marine.
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel. Let's go. Come on.
Capitol Police grab him and start dragging him away.
Let's go.
What a violent response, by the way, by the Capitol Police. Like, police are violent, but my God, did they really have to, like,
Israel is the reason for this war.
Look at this.
America does not want to fight this war for Israel. Let's go.
They, like,
come on. Let's go. America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows your exemptness as leaders. This is wrong. And nobody wants to fight for Israel.
Jeez Louise. I don't understand why they have to wrestle him to the ground for this. I really don't. He's exercising his First Amendment right. If they want him to leave, they should just shuffle him out the door and tell him to leave. If he's resisting leaving, just let him yell it out and then walk him out the door. So many different ways to de-escalate this. And they're like, there's two of them wrestling this guy to the ground. An in-uniform Marine Corps veteran. I love that he keeps yelling out his point. I do love that part. And you're going to see in a minute. Viewer discretion, I might censor this part. I don't know, because I might get age restricted if I show this part. But you're going to hear it, so that should be warning enough that this is going to be pretty disturbing. But something happens to him in this clip, and if you couldn't hear it, honestly, I don't think I would have noticed it unless I heard it and was told about it beforehand, because he told me what happened in the clip before I watched it. But something happens to him in this clip. You wouldn't know from his reaction that it happened. You wouldn't know, because he just doesn't react at all. I mean, he really takes it. It shows you the kind of discipline he has as a Marine. I mean, good Lord. It's a brutal... warning. That's all I'm going to say. Warning.
Commandant, please stand up as a Marine.
So...
stand up for America.
So there's 2 Capitol Police. Now there's 3 Capitol Police. 3, count them. 3 Capitol Police. 1 Marine Corps veteran. And who's this little fucker that joins in? That's United States Senator Sheehy. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I have no idea. Sheehy. Who cares? This guy's the new MAGA warrior hero in the halls of MAGA heroes. He bravely jumps in to the 3-cop pileup on this Marine Corps veteran and attempts to wrestle him out of the room.
No one
starts pulling him out the room. This is the part you should brace yourself for, because it's pretty bad.
to fight for Israel.
Let me rewind it, because I love that statement. No one wants to fight for Israel. Insane statement. I love it. Baller statement. I love the energy behind it. It makes me happy.
No one wants to fight for Israel.
Oh, God. The senator yanks on him so hard that it breaks his arm. And you can see it's the senator that breaks his arm. They say his hand in the clip. Later in the clip you see it. It's his entire arm. They snapped his arm. Oh, God. And now his hand is stuck in the door, by the way. Like, they struggle after this to get his hand out of the door.
His hand! Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sir, thank you for your service.
Senator broke his hand! The senator broke his hand.
The guy that's yelling in this clip, by the way, saying the senator broke his hand, I actually really like this guy because of how he acts in this clip. Let me show the other angle because you can see him more in the angle. But the stuff he says to the senator in this angle is pretty awesome.
A U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine. You're a coward. Punk. Yeah, go fuck yourself. What'd you say? Senator?
You're a coward, punk. Go fuck yourself. I love that. Love this dude's energy. I think it was actually a different guy that was yelling out in the other clip, but I love this guy's energy. When he turns to him and calls him a coward and a punk and then says, go fuck yourself.
Punk. Yeah, go fuck yourself. What'd you say? Senator? Go fuck yourself. You were a shit seal. That's why you got kicked out, fat ass.
He calls him a fat ass. He calls the senator a fat ass. Oh my god.
Everybody sit down, please. Everybody sit down, please.
I'm getting out of here.
That's fine. Everybody sit down, please. Is your hand okay?
No, it's not.
This is disgusting. Disgusting.
Just pull it
This
out.
is disgusting.
I feel so bad for the dude. And there's been like talks about like how they could throw him in like a military jail for violating some Department of Defense code because he's in uniform and he's using politically charged partisan speech and all this dumb bullshit like jargon about like military rules. Because the way that Pete Hegseth moves, he would not care about the optics of throwing a U.S. Marine anti-war veteran in prison for like 20 years for speaking out against the Iran war. He doesn't care about the optics of that move. So I really hope this guy lives a long, fulfilling life. I hope he doesn't get thrown in jail for this. This was a really brave and commendable thing for him to do. And actually, let me go back to the other clip of the second angle, the one we were watching originally, because there is actually a moment in that that's not shown in the main video. But there's a moment where she turns around to all of the 4-star generals and whatnot sitting in the room. And there's something so unsettling and dystopian about the moment. Here.
Control your Senate committee.
Look at you guys. You're robots.
A U.S. senator.
You won't even look back. Look at you guys. You're like robots. Oh my God.
Not a single one of them will turn around.
What is happening?
Everyone in this part of the room won't even look.
And you're not even looking back. Any of you 4-star generals. Oh my God. What is happening right now? Eyes front, robots.
The Vietnam War and its consequences. An all volunteer fighting force who have all just been indoctrinated into this robotic, this robotic behavior, this unnatural, robotic like style of living. Because like 60 years ago, all the guys in this room would have been looking. But it's because they're all trained to just, lest they want to like lose their rank or something. I mean, I think it's gross. I think it's cowardly of them to not even look. But I think this moment's just really dystopian. To see this room full of people not even care that this guy spoke out against the war in Iran, just got dragged out of the room by 3 Capitol cops and a sitting U.S. senator, just got his arm broken by said senator, and he's still shouting about his anti-war stance, and they won't even look. It's cowardly. It's disgusting. The people that are coming out now and taking the difficult position that should be common sense, but the masses aren't on board yet, these people will be remembered as heroes. The people that say, oh, during the civil rights movement, I would have been on the side of black people. No, you wouldn't have. You would have been one of those cushy liberals that lives in your home and goes, well, it's not affecting me, so I mean, I understand their plight, but they should tone it down a little bit. That's the kind of person you would have been. You wouldn't have been walking across the bridge with all of the civil rights leaders getting beat up by the police. You know, you wouldn't have been walking arm to arm with John Lewis getting beat up by the police on the Edmonton Bridge. You wouldn't have been. You know, I detest people that will years later be like, I was always on the right side of this. No, you weren't. So, also, I definitely said the name of that bridge wrong. Just saying. I'm pretty sure it's a different name for the bridge. I'm pretty sure it's called the Edmund Pettus Bridge, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look this up. Yeah, I'm right. It is the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I don't know why I called it the Edmonton Bridge. I have Canada on my mind too much. Yeah, I don't know why I misspoke and called that the Edmonton Bridge. Anyway, you get my point. Scenes like that are just so gross and dystopian. Here's a Fox News commentator absolutely blowing and kissing someone's ass on TV. So embarrassing. So embarrassing. This guy's in a lot of clips that I show, but I just want you to see the level of ass kissery. This dude's, both his ass cheeks are in this guy's mouth. It's this bad.
Well, it's not 100% clear to me, General, and that's not to suggest that I don't support 100% what is happening, nor that I 100% offer my support. I just think I want to ask a couple of critical questions, and I hope you know how much respect I have for your service, and I think it goes without saying to anybody watching how much respect I have for the men making this decision.
You don't have to patronize me, just ask the question.
Dude, 19 to 20 seconds of straight glaze on this guy, and he got sick of it.
Go ahead. Come on, ask it.
To be clear, General, I'm not patronizing you. I'm trying to have a very serious conversation in front of the American people. The men making these decisions have my utmost respect. This is less about you than everybody making these decisions. And this is about the American people understanding the investment that lies before them. Well, it's not.
Oh my God. I just love that moment.
For the men making this decision.
You don't have to patronize me, just ask the question.
Dude, as awful as this war is, we've gotten some great moments out of it. That's like one of my favorite things to watch at the moment. Here's Thomas Massey's speech on the House floor. Let me see if I can get the shorter clip, because I'm not going to show a 5-minute clip on here. But when he was talking about the War Powers Act, here's what he said.
And it will send more swarms of refugees into Europe and the United States. Iran is not Venezuela. The Ayatollah was not a president. He was a religious leader from a region notorious for radical Islamists. And the United States and Israel turned him into a martyr. And in the process of doing so, we've already expended billions of dollars, and more solemnly, 6 American families must now lay to rest their sons and daughters. And for what? This administration can't even give us a straight answer as to why we launched this preemptive war. And it will send more swarms of refugees.
I want to know. I feel like I might be jumping ahead too much in my doc for this, but I mean, I'm like right at the end. I want to know what the United States' overall long-term goal is. Because whenever I think about this, I want you to know that this war... Oh, they got rid of it. Fuck, man. I want you to know that this war, according to this Iran War Cost Ticker website, based on the Pentagon's preliminary estimate of $1 per day, or $1 billion per day, based on how long we've been at war now with Iran, which is at this point 7 days, we have spent an estimated $6 billion almost on this war. THAAD interceptors are super expensive. Our Patriot missiles are super expensive. You know, those are like Iron Dome missiles, pretty much. I want to know what the US's long-term goal is. We burn so much money every day on military operations. And I'm not talking about like military exercises. I mean like operating the US military. We basically torch money every day. Our debt gets larger every day. It has only ever been paid off like not that many times. I mean, come on. I think the first president to ever do that was Andrew Jackson. There ain't no paying this debt off. Yeah, the trillions that we have on the debt. What is the country's long-term goal? Are we just going to continue to blow through trillions of dollars a year? Just doing nothing but endless war, endless violence, diplomatic bullying, and pretty much domestic terrorism on our own citizens. Is that our goal as a country? What's our end path here as a nation? Because the rich can only get so rich here before there's an uprising. The rich can only get so rich here before a bunch of other nations drop nuclear bombs on us. What is this country's ultimate goal? I mean, are we going to make it to 300 years old as a nation? We turned 250 this year. Are we even going to make it to 300? Like, how many more failed wars and expensive wars do we have to fight in? Do we have to kill our sons and daughters in? You know, how many more of those do we have to participate in? How much more money do we have to burn through before enough is enough? And I know this is like a serious thing, like this president's gonna come in and they're gonna clean up the show, and it's like Donald Trump. Let's start with just the 21st century alone. George W. Bush enters office. Our economy is like okay, it's not great, but it's fine. And Clinton left us with like a surplus and all this stuff. And in 8 years, he tanks the economy, gets us involved in 2 forever wars, which includes a manhunt of the leader of one terrorist organization. We're involved in a forever war in Iraq, a forever war in Afghanistan. We now have a new federal department with an insane budget whose main job is to do mass surveillance on Americans and to arrest people for like loose dissent. Our immigration system is completely changed under this new department. That's all under one president. And then the housing market crashes and the economy goes into a disastrous recession. Obama gets into office. Continues the war in Afghanistan. Who knows why? Yeah, he pulls us out of Iraq. But then we have to go right back in, apparently, to fight ISIS. And we're fighting Syria. Trump gets into office. He continues the war in Afghanistan, continues fighting ISIS, continues bombing Syria, drops Moabs on Syria, kills the top Iranian general, blows through as much money pretty much as Obama did. Yeah, he didn't start any new wars, but he certainly didn't finish a whole lot of them. Biden gets in office. We leave the war in Afghanistan. Wow. Only took us 20 fucking years. But we're still bombing stuff in the Middle East. We're still sending billions of dollars to Israel. Israel gets free health care paid for by us, and we pay for their missile defense system, and we pay for the bombs they drop on children in Gaza. Trump gets back into office. Even more money's being spent now. He participates in the Israeli 12-day war in Iran by helping them bomb nuclear facilities. He becomes the first president to bomb that many countries in 1 year. On the way out of last year, he even bombs a place in Nigeria. Start of the year, we kidnap a foreign leader in Venezuela and drop bombs on their capital, Caracas. And now we've, in addition to keeping, continuing our spending of sending weapons to Israel, we've also now skyrocketed the DHS budget for ICE into basically a domestic military force. That's even more money down the drain. And now we're in another forever war with Iran. With Iran. When does it stop? When do we stop? I mean, we've been in a death spiral of imperialism for decades now. I mean, the Cold War was the real escalation of that. But we've been in like a death spiral of late stage wealth hoarding capitalism and imperialism and some would say those two go hand in hand, for the entire 21st century at this point. So when does it stop? I wanted to show this clip. I included this in my I hope this is the right thing. That is not the right thing. Where's my clip? I wanted to show this clip. I don't know where the link went, but I'm going to find it while I talk about it. I wanted to show this clip because we have zero, we have little to no social safety nets in this country. We have, I mean, really, we have nothing. Where's the clip, man? Someone called into C-SPAN and gave one of the most heart-wrenching accounts of what it's like to have her SNAP benefits cut under the Trump administration. We are the richest nation on earth. And under SNAP, we are giving food assistance aid to the lowest tax bracket just to help them out. To help them out with a little bit of food assistance. They don't make enough money, so we give them a little bit of food assistance. It's the only way they're able to eat for the month, pretty much. I've seen people be like, oh, they're going to buy cookies with it. Who fucking cares? Let them. Let their kids eat cookies. Let their kids drink Sprite. I don't tell you what to eat. And they're not going to be on SNAP forever. These programs are obviously not designed to be forever. for these people. They don't want to be on these programs forever. I think they would prefer to live a life of comfort, not constantly worrying about, you know, their pay, or they're living paycheck to paycheck. And, you know, they can't afford anything better than being on SNAP assistance. You know, earning some form of welfare because they can't make ends meet because their boss won't pay them what they're worth. I'm sure they want more in their life. They don't want to live in government assisted housing like Section 8. They want something better. They're going to work towards something better. Most people on those programs don't want to be on them forever. But at the same time, I don't want them to be uncomfortable while they're on them. If they want to buy a fucking brownie on SNAP benefits, I don't give a fuck. Let them. I want them to enjoy themselves for a little bit, man. They already got it hard enough as it is. And making such a big fuss about them spending money on a fucking cookie with SNAP so they can feel a micron of joy in their life. Who cares? Let them do it. But Republicans care so much that Trump has decimated SNAP under this administration. And this woman called into C-SPAN. Sorry, I'm like fighting crying right now because this makes me so upset. And her story makes me upset. I mean, the host is like visibly shaken during this. But it's so heart-wrenching to hear this woman talk about how she has to ration out her food because she can't get enough food assistance anymore. That she has just accepted that she's going to die of starvation because she can't afford food.
I had my annual physical yesterday. I'm 65 years old. I'm legally blind. I'm on disability. I went to my doc and I lost 28 pounds in the last year. I did not need to lose 28 pounds. I did not try to lose 28 pounds. I lost the 28 pounds because I cannot afford to eat anymore. Under Biden, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Under Biden, I was able to put $100 a month away for food, along with my SNAP, and I did okay. I could get fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and meat. It is just me. But now, with grocery prices so high, propane, electricity out of this world, I now only allow myself $65 a month for food.
Sharon, are you on SNAP benefits?
Let me tell you, under Joe Biden, I received $80 a month for SNAP. That was taken away from me under Donald Trump. He took it away. He gave me $24 a month. I did receive that for a couple of months. Then he took it down to $12.50 a month. I said, screw you. So I'm not doing that no more.
Yeah, that's such an insult. That's such an insult. I'll refrain until she's done.
So now I get $65 a month, Mimi. And for them people out there, all these Republicans that are doing so flippin' well right now, I have 3 potatoes. I have a half a tomato. I have 3 bananas, 1 apple, 1 can of soup, a half a loaf of bread, 1 egg, and 1 can of green beans. I do not get paid until the 3rd. I am disability blind. I cannot drive a car. I'm 15 miles out of town, so I am not able to just trot my butt down to the food shelf. I used to volunteer at the food shelf. I can't even do that anymore. I don't understand. I'd like somebody to explain to me, why is it always the poor people that are helping the poor people? I don't understand. But what I want to say, Mimi, is that it's really close to coming. Like that man said, the end is coming near, and it can't be any more true for me.
Oh, man, what a line. It's so gross that we can't. I mean, think about it, how even under Biden, only $80 a month for SNAP? Only $80. Why is it that we can give corporations and rich people such large subsidies under the government? Millions of dollars, if not billions. But we can't even afford to give poor people more than $80 a month in SNAP benefits. It has been estimated that it would not be that much money to solve world hunger. It'd be like $12 billion or something like that. Every rich person that has billions of dollars, like big billions, why have none of them bothered to fork up a small piece of their fortune for world hunger? All of this money that we have in the US government, and none of it is put towards the people living in this country. We would rather spend billions and trillions of dollars on bombing children in the Middle East than to let this lady have, at the very least, $80 a month for SNAP. I think she should have more. And to all these conservatives that are like, oh, well, then these moochers are they're not gonna stay on SNAP forever. And honestly, if everyone in this country making under $1 million a year received some kind of food benefit check every month from the government, like a $300 food check from the government every month, at least, I would be so fine with that. If someone making $500,000 a year got that food benefit check, I'd be fine with it, because I know everyone making under $100,000, under $50,000, under $10,000 a year is also getting that food benefit check. You know, it's like my policy on free school lunch. I don't care if the rich kids getting the free lunch, as long as the poor kids getting the free lunch. Everyone can have the free lunch. I don't care. That's fine. I'd rather everyone have it than no one have it. $12.50 a month. What the fuck? What is that? That's disgusting. This is as much Trump's fault as it is the Democrats' fault, as it is neoliberal politics in general's fault, as it is capitalism's fault. Imperialism and capitalism are intertwined. Capitalism can't exist without imperialism, and vice versa. So, everyone has failed this woman. I hope she's doing a little better now that she's gotten her story out. I hope she has a support system now. I want to hope that. I don't want to think that this woman is just dying in her home because she's starving to death. And unfortunately, there is a chance that is the reality here. And that makes me sick to my stomach. That makes me sad. It makes me upset. It makes me sick to my stomach. But our government would rather go to war with Iran for Israel than to give the citizens of this country basic dignity and basic needs. Basic human rights. So, I think I've said my piece on this one. You know, I also wrote in here to talk about this. I think the other two branches of government are dead. Congress refusing to invoke the War Powers Act. Congress just letting the president do whatever military action he wants, which Congress has been doing that throughout the whole history of this country. Congress has been turning a blind eye to the president's military actions the whole time this country's existed. You know, I don't think we formally declared war in like 80 years. It's always been the president being like, hey, can I go in and bomb this country? And Congress is like, fuck it, go for it. Except this time around, it's like, I'm going to bomb this country. And Congress goes, I guess we don't really have a say in the matter. Like, what? Even the Supreme Court ruling that the Trump tariffs are unconstitutional, and he just goes, Don't care. 10% global tariff. Boom. This country is effectively dead. We are a ghost vessel, you know, limping our way along, you know, the course of time. So, yeah, this country could do a lot more for the citizens living here, but we would rather blow up children in a Middle Eastern country. And that's what I have to say about the war in Iran. I think that's the longest I've talked about a single topic ever in this podcast's history. I mean, what do you say? This part of the doc alone is 2.5 pages long. Because so much has happened. That War Powers resolution, by the way, was proposed by Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. Congressional power couple, by the way. Love them both together. But I'm just so shocked at how this all unraveled in a week. I postponed my Georgia election video because of this, because I was like, there's too much. I can't do an extra episode this week and talk about this exhaustive war that is going to have... I just realized I totally forgot to mention that the CIA is trying to recruit Kurdish forces in Iraq to go into Iran on the ground. Have the Kurds learned nothing about how the U.S. treats them? Does Syria not ring a bell, folks? It's genuinely surprising. We're pulling out every stop, and we're just openly talking about it. And the media frames it like, oh, Kurds are just randomly deciding to go into Iran and bravely fight on the U.S. and Israel's behalf. None of them want to mention the fact that it's the CIA recruiting them to go in there for us. So every hour of every day now, it's been something new. There's going to be stuff I've missed during this, because it's happening right now and I don't know about it. Like, this is insane. We are in unprecedented territory, and you know, like I said, balance it out, go outside, breathe fresh air, go on a walk between reading about this stuff, because it's going to drive you nuts if you don't. Don't lose morale, folks. Don't let this shit kill you. Zero sugar, Mountain Dew, Baja Blast. I don't know why they put tropical lime on there. I guess because now there's 2 different flavors. But this is the tropical lime is the default Baja Blast, and the best one, coming from a guy who hasn't had the other ones. No, that's not true. I had whatever like weird bullshit purple one they had at the restaurant once. I don't remember it, so I don't know if it's good or not. Breaking news: Kristi Noem was fired from the Department of Homeland Security, marking the first time in the second term that he has fired a member of the cabinet in such a high profile member of the cabinet. Which I guess if you want to get really technical, Matt Gaetz was the first one, but he didn't even get started. I mean, he just kind of stepped down from the Secretary of Defense nomination. But this is like the first high profile firing during the second term. You know, the first term was riddled with him. You know, he was looking for his loyalists. Nobody was stepping up to the plate because they were all Republican, like, careerists that had been in politics for decades. They were still part of the moderate, you know, right-wing machine that cared about war hawking, oil, and appearing as professional civility conservatives. And this time around, he found his hogs. He found his warmongers that will do whatever he says. And I guess Kristi Noem wasn't cutting it. You might be wondering, what did he fire her for? The fact that she killed her dog? All the ICE stuff? She's deeply unpopular right now. The DHS shutdown. No. He fired her. Because, well, not because she created a shell company to forward $220 million into 8 days after its creation for ad campaign money. Not because of that act alone, although that would be a worthy thing to fire her for. You know, funneling money into her shell company. But instead, it's because during a hearing, while answering Senator Kennedy's question about that money, she said that the president signed off on that money being transferred to that company. That the president was okay with it. And that's why he fired her. Now, he didn't fire her totally from the DHS. She still works for the Department of Homeland Security. He, quote unquote, promoted her, which is a demotion. I mean, if you're not the secretary of the whole department, you've been demoted. You know, if you're not one of the ranking cabinet members in line to become the president at some point in the chain, by the way, then you're not being promoted, dog. She was demoted to a role called the Shield of Americas. I don't know what that is, but all I know is that she thanked him for the opportunity in the new role. Cucked, bro. Absolutely cucked. She's being replaced by Mark Wayne Mullen, and I have a couple of my favorite moments from him because I recognized his face as soon as I saw it. Infamously, he is the Congress member cowering in his chair during the January 6th insurrection. He's cowering in his chair. You know, he would later go on to say that this was like a peaceful tour and all this, you know, dumb bullshit that they've made up after the fact about the insurrection. But seemingly during the insurrection, he seemed to fear for his life. Because this is him cowering in his seat. He's also known for, during a hearing with the Teamsters Union president, Sean O'Brien, challenging him to a fight.
If you want to
Come on, play the
run
video.
your mouth, we can be two consenting. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution,
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond? Mr. Chairman?
Hold it.
Wow.
If we can't, no,
This is
I have
what
the
he
mic.
said.
I'm sorry.
This is
hold
what
it.
he said.
You'll have your time.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Oh, no, you can't. This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough of contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and bullies.
You have,
And that's
you
what-
have
I don't
the
like
right
you
to-
because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
Hold it.
If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
What a fucking moron, dude. Meathead. You want to be two adults? Let's fight. Let's
If you want
tussle.
to run your mouth, we can be two.
Let's tussle, bro. Stand your butt up. Yeah, you won't even say stand your ass up. Stand your butt up. Stupid, bro. I'm gonna push that one to the next episode. Let's see. In the Texas Democratic primary for the U.S. Senate, it came down between James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. And folks, he did it. James Tallarico wins the primary.
We now know who will be representing Texas Democrats in the race for U.S. Senate.
Yeah, the Associated Press called that primary for State Representative James Tallarico. We're showing you the latest results as a few more votes are trickling in today. He is capturing at least 52% of the vote over Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's 46%. She called him earlier today to congratulate him.
She was making a big fuss the night of the election, saying that the Republicans were disenfranchising voters, which is true. And unfortunately, making that big of a fuss. I know she's conceded now, but here's the problem with making that kind of big fuss. One, the Republicans actually wanted her to win. They were trying to disenfranchise voters that were more than likely going to vote for James. They wanted Jasmine Crockett to win. All of their internal polling showed that they would win against her. They wanted to run against her because they thought she'd be an easy target. They were probably going to pull out all the racial stops and say that she's an angry black woman who's hysterical. You know that's what they were going to go for. They're racist right-wing Republicans. They wanted a candidate like her to win for that reason. They thought she'd be an easy win. Well, now we have James Tallarico, who is, a progressive, forward-thinking candidate. And I think he would have been my pick, personally. Jasmine Crockett's also a Zionist. She's a Zionist, bro. She's also out of Congress now, by the way. Because another guy is going to probably win her seat. A preacher who on October 8th, by the way, was preaching about how Israel runs an apartheid state. On October 8th, 2023. That guy is taking her seat. Insane. But, she conceded, but I think her making those complaints, I've already seen some people online saying this shit, where they're saying this is just like the Bernie bros with Hillary Clinton, and they're already like committing to not wanting to vote for Tallarico despite her endorsing him. And that's why I think it was harmful to kind of come out and shit sling. I know that's her thing. That's like her shtick, right? She's a outspoken, unorthodox candidate, right? Or congresswoman. But I think her doing that kind of rattled things up. I think she's actively harming his chances of winning the Senate seat by doing something like that. But congrats to James Tallarico. In other great news, Dan Crenshaw lost his primary for his House seat. Folks, we're just surrounded by good news in the sea of shit we've been served this week. James Tallarico is the Texas Senate candidate, and Dan Crenshaw will never see the House ever again. W. Here's what Trump said about the midterms. Some reporter asked him about the midterms and if he planned to create voter restrictions, and this was his response.
Sir, are you considering a national emergency around the midterm elections?
Are you considering a national emergency around the midterm elections?
There's been reporting that there's an executive.
He says, "Who told you that?" He's actually doing what we predicted he would do. You remember what I said? Do you remember what I said during the 2024 election? I'm not crazy anymore because I've been vindicated. I'm not crazy anymore because I've been proven right. I said he would try to declare some kind of national emergency around the election to try to delay the elections. I said it after his meeting with Zelensky when he said, "Oh, if you're in wartime, you can just delay the elections. You can just do that." Him joking around like that. He's going to try it. He's going to try to declare some kind of national emergency around elections. And he's going to try to delay the midterms or stop them entirely. I'm telling you, he's going to try it. Will it succeed? Probably not. But he's going to try it. He's going to try it. Guys, he's going to attempt a coup. He's going to attempt a coup. Don't we love that? He's going to do the shit we said he was going to do. Attempting a coup. It rhymes. That's how you know it's true. That rhymes too. Oh my God. I mean, I don't think it would work because, the states control the voting in this country. Constitutionally, they are mandated to do so. However, the DOJ is in charge of enforcing voter rights and based on laws that are on the books right now. And I don't think Pam Bondi has any interest in suing states for violating voting rights. I think if Texas introduced the fucking poll tax this year, they would ignore a court order to stop doing that, and the DOJ wouldn't do jack shit about it. You know, I think he'll try it. These elections are going to be messy. In addition to trying to stop the midterm, he's probably going to also try to station ICE at every poll, and it's not going to be a easy time. This is going to be a hard voting season because he knows he's going to win in historic numbers, and he's going to lose in historic numbers. I mean, he knows he's going to lose in historic numbers unless the Democrats royally fuck each other up, which they're going to do. Let's be real. But he knows he's in impeachment territory after that. If the Democrats grow a pair of balls, a pair of nuts, a little bit of guts, if you don't have balls, and they impeach him in the House, and maybe, just maybe, if John Fetterman stops having brain disease for 5 minutes, the Senate might convict him and remove him from office. Might. A man can dream, damn it. Just spilled this all over me. All over my brand new Dexter shirt. I get every last drop. I got this for my birthday. Let the Gulf Stream sweep you away. It's a slice of life from Dexter. Bay Harbor moonlight fishing. It's got Dexter dumping trash bags into the ocean. I love this shirt, dude. It's so cool. I love this shirt. It's great. Yeah, these elections that are coming up are going to be messy. All right. Let's see what we got next. Cuban state TV showed the arsenal that was supposedly on that speedboat. By the way, the one that we mentioned last week. I know, doesn't that feel like it was a year ago? That speedboat that tried to enter Cuba. This is the arsenal that Cuban state TV is saying was on that boat. Here, let me move the camera so you can see just how much stuff was on this boat. I mean, and there's also like Starlink on the boat. Dude. Brother. Look at how much stuff is on there. Oh my God. Good Lord almighty, man. That is so much stuff. They were definitely trying something. This was like the hick like moron version of Bay of Pigs, you know. That's what this is. The hick idiot version of Bay of Pigs. The last thing I got, and I don't know how deep into it I'll go. Something troubling entered the airwaves on Friday, other than bombs being dropped on Iran. And it was Illinois District 9's candidate for the House. I don't know how you say her last name. Kat Abu-Ghazaleh. I think that's how you say it. Abu-Ghazaleh. Kat Abu-Ghazaleh, who's from Mother Jones and from, you know, left-wing journalism. Trademark. She's running for Illinois District 9 in the primary. She was asked about her foreign policy positions. She's a progressive Palestinian American. So I thought, oh, her positions will be relatively progressive, right? I just want you to see. And I want you to hear one of the things that she says.
Like to see full restoration of Ukraine's land. Like, this war is a travesty. Russia initiated a war of aggression, which is an international crime as decided by the United States and Russia after World War II. This is very similar to what we see when Hitler tried to seize Sudetenland. And even with capitulation, it didn't stop him. So that's part of the reason that we have to continue supporting Ukraine, because they are being invaded.
Not too bad so far, defending the Ukrainians against Russian invasion. Not too bad. I'm on board with giving Ukraine some money, some weapons, maybe. Whatever. Not too bad. I think most people are on board with that.
They are our ally, and it doesn't stop with Ukraine. It will never stop with Ukraine. Putin wants to take more and more and more land. I support amending the Taiwan
Brace yourself.
Relations Act to drop our strategic ambiguity towards defending the island militarily.
So the official stance of the U.S. government is that Taiwan is not part of China, but in public they will always say that Taiwan is part of China. And that's the ambiguity she's talking about. But then the militarily part.
Not touching the one China policy outlined in the Shanghai Communique. So if Taiwan is invaded, I want to ensure that we've codified passive support to sell Taiwan weapons.
Why? Why would we sell Taiwan weapons against a Chinese invasion? That's probably not going to happen. Why are we so invested in Taiwan? If I was in this position, I would say, I want us to sever all ties with funding Taiwan's defense against China. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if, people will have an issue with that, but personally, I'm a bit of an isolationist. I don't think, while I am okay with us giving money to Ukraine and weapons to Ukraine, whatever, it would be better if we weren't also doing what Russia's doing to other countries. But in a vacuum, I'm okay with that idea. Giving Taiwan weapons to fight against China, I don't agree with that at all. Like, this is like an ultra right-wing position that even moderate Republicans don't believe in. Like, she's to the right of some Republicans on this one. I just don't think that's a good idea. I mean, this is like a level of like China fear-mongering that's a little neoliberal-ish, I guess. Like, it's just kind of a weird stance to take, if you catch what I'm saying. Like, let Taiwan and China figure their own shit out. Why do we keep interfering with foreign affairs? We should not be the world police. I'm done giving other countries our shit. We shouldn't be promoting, a war front with Taiwan. Codifying something like this could actually make relations between Taiwan and China worse. It could even potentially make it to where China would want to invade Taiwan more, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't know. I just don't. I think this is such a messy, weird position to take. I don't know where she got this from. I don't know if this is her own opinion. I don't know if this is from her campaign. It seems to maybe have come from her campaign, but I think she's sticking to her guns on this one. So I don't know.
Congress wills it, so Trump just can't overrule it, or whoever the president is. That's in Congress's hands. Okay. And that we can militarily step in to defend Taiwan with naval fleets for interception.
She wants to send the military in. She doesn't really say it.
We can militarily step in to defend Taiwan with naval fleets for interception and selling weapons.
She doesn't really say it outright, but naval interception from our Navy, we would be actively fighting a war directly against China at that point. Not a proxy war. us selling weapons to Taiwan would make it kind of a proxy war for us. It'd be like when we joined the South Vietnamese in fighting North Vietnam, and North Vietnam fought us kind of on their own, but with the backing of the Soviet Union. It'd be kind of like that. Taiwan would be fighting China, but with the backing of the United States, if that makes sense. Like the USSR versus Afghanistan with the backing of the US, basically backing up Afghanistan. It'd be like that. But what she's suggesting is that our Navy directly intercepts attacks from China. And more than likely at that point would probably directly fight China by firing back. That's what it would ultimately lead to. She wants to open the doors legislatively to ensure that the president has to fight a war with China if China invades Taiwan. Whoa. That is insane. You know what I mean? Like, that's like if the USSR had invaded Afghanistan, and instead of us just backing Osama bin Laden's rebel fighters to fight the USSR, we sent US troops to Afghanistan and fought the USSR directly. Oh, we're just here to intercept their fire. Yeah, you're inevitably going to fire back at some point. And now you've got a direct contact war with another superpower. That is not a good idea. Proxy war is like one level of like, it's risky, but it's two parties of each side. It's a party from each side fighting each other on behalf of the bigger powers. So it's not as like scary sounding as the US going to direct war with China. Whoa. This is not a good take at all from her.
This is kind of like a 1-2 punch. Let's make sure that we have deterrence first. I always prioritize diplomatic solutions before any sort of intervention.
Sure.
But almost making Taiwan a porcupine that is difficult to invade, and then committing to step in to defend Taiwan from invasion.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the only risk to China wanting to reabsorb Taiwan into its one China conglomerate country is that Taiwan would then get to enjoy the quality of life that Chinese people get, I guess. Like, what's the big risk to China taking over Taiwan? Don't a lot of the people in Taiwan already kind of see themselves as Chinese anyway? I don't know. Like, that's why I'm saying, as a dumb American living in the southeast of the United States, I should not have to think about Taiwanese and Chinese relations and their internal conflicts with each other. We should have zero business. This is like Cold War era Red Scare level shit. We should have zero business in what China and Taiwan do with each other. Whether they stay separate or become one or get married and have a family. One child, by the way. Sorry. We should have zero business in that. Why we care, I don't know. This isn't the Cold War anymore. Why do we care if China absorbs this country into its fold? This is so weird. I know she's an anti-imperialist, but I guess she's taking a stance on this on the principle of China taking over Taiwan would be considered imperialist. But from an American standpoint, we should not be involved. Like, at all. It'd also be the most hypocritical thing we've ever done. We've taken over so many territories, and we're actively trying to take over a territory right now. Another country, Greenland. We're literally trying to take over Greenland right now from Denmark. Like, we are doing the same thing. Greenland is our Taiwan at this point. We're trying to take it. We would be such hypocrites for interfering with China's ambition to take and claim Taiwan as a Chinese, as part of China. I don't know. This is such a bizarre take that wasn't necessary to her campaign. Like, yeah, military intervention in Taiwan as a progressive Democrat is a crazy take. The next day, she fired her foreign policy advisor, by the way, because it turned out actually he's potentially pro-Israel for attending a pro-Israel rally in 2024. And this policy probably came from him, but I think she continues to kind of float this policy around, which this is a terrible policy, man. She should drop that shit real fast. How much more war do we need, bruh? Right now, Pakistan and Afghanistan are going at it over a border dispute. That's another thing going on in the world right now. My God. Can we just all chill and play video games? We don't need to be talking about the political and economic state of the world right now. All right. Can we just all chill out, eat Doritos, and play video games together? And drink Mountain Dew. And stop dying for Israel. All right. That's it for this episode. Thank you for sitting through 2 hours of me talking. This is going to take me forever to render. This will be fun. I didn't get to 2 more of my topics, but I'm actually glad I didn't, because one of them needs to be updated and the other one is not that important right now. So we'll be talking about that next week. I'll give you a little preview. The exciting topics of monopolies and the Federal Trade Commission not going after certain media companies for creating monopolies and the internal politics. You get it. The other one's about crime statistics in New York City, but we just got new crime statistics from New York City for February, so I want to include that before I talk about it, because I only included January. Anyway, I'll see you all next week with the new episode. I'm probably gonna start working on my Georgia election videos. I have 2 of them. I combined one of them, so I have 2 of them now that are gonna come out at some point before May. So look out for that. If you want to support this podcast, go to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod for my sanity. Remember to go outside, folks, please. Keep a good personal life on your shoulders. Don't talk about politics with everybody you know. Don't subject them to that, please. Good Lord. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. You can listen to this podcast on audio-only platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, I guess. The Samsung Fridge, now with bespoke AI. Ugh. I don't know how much longer I want to continue that bit now that I know they use AI in their fridge. Why do you need AI in a fridge, dog? That's so dumb. Just put your groceries in there, you fucking idiot. Anyway, sorry. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See y'all next week. Peace.